we're going to talk about canning green beans. We're going to begin with fresh green beans that we have washed, snapped the ends off, and we're going to cut them into 1-inch pieces. We're going to prepare the beans in what we call a hot pack by putting them into boiling water for 5 minutes. This will enable the beans to fit into the jar more closely. If you would like to use canning salt, you need about a half a teaspoon per pint. Headspace means the top of the jar where there is nothing. For low acid foods that are going to be pressure canned, you need 1 inch of headspace. You want to be covered with liquid. If you don't, it has a tendency to dry out and shrivel. This must be perfectly clean and smooth in order to get a good seal with your lid. We've had our commercial canning lids soaking in simmering water to make the gum, that is the sealing component, soft enough to make a seal. Don't press down firmly because that might seal it. Then it would not be able to exhaust the air that is important during the canning process. We're going to tighten our rings down just until you meet resistance. I'm going to lift it up and put it into our pressure canner. Make sure they remain upright. There's a rack in the bottom so the jars do not touch the bottom of the canner. And then you put 2 or 3 inches of water in it. For hot pack, you want the water to be 180 degrees. If we had done a raw pack, and that's simply putting the raw beans into a jar and pouring boiling water over them, if we'd done the raw pack, we'd want our water to be 140 degrees. We're using a pressure canner that has a dial gauge and a gasket, and that seals the top on. You want to turn your burner up and wait for it to boil. What we want to see is steam coming out of the pitcock for 10 minutes. If at any time your heat is diminished and the boiling inside stops, stop your timing, turn the temperature back to high, and start the process all over. So now we've vented for 10 minutes, and I'm going to place the pressure regulator on top of the pitcock. Our pressure will build when it reaches about 9 pounds pressure. You're going to want to reduce your heat. We want 20 minutes of 11 pounds pressure. But where you live in the country, depending on your altitude, might make a difference. Once our beans have been in the canner for 20 minutes at 11 pounds pressure, you want to shut the heat off and then walk away. Do not try and hurry the cooling, depressurizing process. So our canner has cooled down, pressure is at 0. The safety valve is flush with the top of the canner, so that means that it has depressurized. Lift the jars vertically. Do not tip them. There might be a little bit of water on top of the lid. Don't worry about that. Set the jars to cool on a prepared surface, either a rack, a thick cutting board, or several towels. Never place a hot jar on a cold surface. Make sure you leave at least 1 inch between the jars and leave them undisturbed for 12 to 24 hours.